What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel There Has to Be More. I am your humble host, Scott Moore. Just wanted to give you an update. Today is Wednesday, March 15th. I have to keep checking because the days run together, and when you don't work, every day's a Saturday. So I just thought I'd update you on a couple things. Today's topic at the end is going to be what's it like to meet with a doctor or a vet. So I'll give you a couple of ideas about what it's like to meet with a veterinarian, the costs of that, and what it's like to meet with a doctor and how that went. But I'll start off with a few things, a couple big things going on here, a few big things. Abby, our a little sweet female dog, she's 11 years old. For some reason, every time she gets an infection, the last two times, and she has to take antibiotics, she starts having seizures. And she had some fungus in her feet where, like, if you open up her toenails, you could see big red puffy things in there. So they start giving her antibiotics, and sure enough, she starts having seizures again. So we've got a specialist coming over today, and I'll talk a little bit more about the what it's like to deal with a vet here. If you're have any desires to come visit Nicaragua or live in Nicaragua, and you think you might have bring one of your pets or a couple of your pets. But at least for right now, she's having the seizures, but it doesn't seem like it's anything life-threatening. But they are pretty bad, so the specialist should be here at 2 o'clock this afternoon to take a look at her. And it is a home visit. So the other thing, Lydia is making the rounds with the van before she has to head back to the U.S. We had a couple of enormous boxes shipped over here full of everything from towels to sheets to clothes to I don't know what else Lydia has in there. So they were delivered to our niece's house in Corinto. So Lydia took the van over to a city called Matagalpa, where Jackie and Luis live. Jackie's her cousin, and Luis and her run a mechanic shop. And so she went over there. She had the oil changed, tires, brakes, everything checked. Car's in great shape. So she's ready to go. She is on her way now to Corinto to pick up the boxes. Then she'll come back here. Little bit of a snag in Lydia getting back. Now we have 30 days to get that Honda van out of Nicaragua. Otherwise, there's some kind of financial penalties. We don't know how bad that could be. But the coyote that she had lined up to take her to the southern Mexican border has backed out, and we are desperately looking for somebody else to go with her. Again, I am not invited. Lydia does not want me. She thinks it would be financially bad and safety-wise bad to have me in the car. So anyway, that's what we're working on today with Lydia. She's going to drive back here tonight, drop off all the stuff that's in these two enormous boxes, and then hopefully in the next day or two, she will be heading on her trip back to the U.S. So that's what's going on with Lydia right now. Now a couple of projects that we're working on here. We are having a brand new suicide shower installed. And if you haven't seen a suicide shower, they have them. I'm used to it because we always had one when we lived in Costa Rica many years ago. But it basically looks like a drip coffee machine at the end of a pipe, and it's wired electrically into your shower. So when you walk in, you will see that it is plugged in or wired in, and basically you turn the water on. It runs through this little, it's about this big, this little machine, and it's a drip coffee maker. It drips hot water out for as long as you want it to come out. So that's what everybody uses here. I mean, 90-something% of people, they either have cold water, or if they have hot water, it's almost always a suicide shower. I'm sure in the more expensive places, if you're getting a $700 or $800 a month house, or you buy a house, you can have hot water heaters installed. So the other thing, the other big thing that we're working on today is we just, if you've seen in the other videos, we have, because we get water here every other day, the landlord agreed to install a big water tank in the backyard. And so they've built this enormous thing. It's like, it looks like a giant table that's like 12 feet tall. And they've made it out of rebar and cement, these 4 big legs, then a cement and rebar platform on top. And I guess I just didn't realize how big this water tank was. I thought she said 250 gallons. This thing's like almost 6 feet tall. It's probably 5 feet around. And I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna flip this around and show you real quick what it looks like. If you can get a peek of that. Hopefully you got a peek of that out the back door, but it is just massive. And anyway, it looks to me like it's way bigger than 250 gallons, maybe, I don't know, 500 gallons, 1,000 gallons, I'm not sure, but it's enormous. Anyway, this will make sure it'll automatically fill on the days where we have water, and on the off days where we don't have water, it'll just automatically come out of the tank, and then the next day when we have water again, it'll automatically be refilled. So we'll just always have water here. And really nice for the landlord to do. She's gone above and beyond, so we're really happy living here. I mean, we were, again, looking for something a little different. We were looking for something a little more Americanized, but Liddy and I are pretty happy here. Especially with the neighborhood and the neighbors. They have just been unbelievably nice. So the water tank is here. I'm not exactly sure how it's getting from our driveway up on the top of this thing, but we'll find out maybe this afternoon. And what else? Let's see. So we got the water tank, we got the suicide shower. Lydia's coming home tonight, and then as soon as she can find a coyote to get her to the southern Mexican border, she will be off, and she'll be gone for 10, 12 days. I'll be here holding down the fort, watching the dogs. So, doctor visits and veterinary visits. The vet actually lives across the street. I mean, it's like it's like 30 feet away, and he's a really nice young man. I'm terrible at guessing ages, but I guess Joel must be 30 maybe. And he told us, he said, you call me day, night, I don't care if it's the middle of the night, if you have problems with the dogs or with anything else really, he said, just call me. So very, very nice young man. And he's come over, he's given Abby injections with antibiotics. He's given her pills. He's wrapped her foot up, put ointment on her foot. He's come over 3 times, and so far we've paid, and we keep trying to stick money in his hand, and he just won't take it. So far he's taken 200 Cordobas, which is $5.50, something like that. So that's what the vet visit is like. I mean, there's a specialist coming today to look at Abby around 2 o'clock, and I'm not sure exactly what that'll cost, but it'll be $20, $30, something like that, and he'll come right to the house, check out Abby. We don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to find a taxi to put her in the taxi. So really, really easy. Doctor visit. Now this was really fascinating to me because, you know, I religiously go see my doctor for an annual checkup. Besides that, really, I'm pretty healthy. They have to check my blood all the time because I've got some weird blood issue. They thought a couple years ago it might be blood cancer, but they've ruled that out. But my blood is real thick, so I have to take Eliquis to thin it out. I also have to check my hemoglobin like every 2 weeks, and if it's high, I have to give blood, and that thins my blood out even more. So I go in, we find this lab, and they say, oh yeah, we can check your hemoglobin, no problem, and I think that costs like $5. And so you go in there, they check the hemoglobin, you walk down the street, have a little lunch or breakfast somewhere, and come back and they've got the results for you. Then we went in to see the doctor because we wanted to make sure that if and when my hemoglobin's high, somebody can take blood. We tried the Red Cross. They would not do it because I take Eliquis, so I can't be a donor. Nobody can use the blood. I mean, they could theoretically take the blood, they just can't use it. So went in to see the doctor, and they said, yeah, the doctor can take the blood, but you'd have to do a consult. So, we said, sure, okay, great. We'll meet with the doctor. And so this very nice lady, and what was really different was, I don't know about you guys, but the last few times I went to a doctor in the U.S. over the last 3 or 4 years, it's always felt like so rushed. And they would want to know, what's the problem? What are the symptoms? And then, whatever it is, they'd make a couple comments, write a script, and you were out of there. I mean, it was like really, once you got to see the doctor, you weren't with the doctor very long. And they didn't ask anything about anything else bothering you. How else can I help you today? Nothing like that. This was completely the opposite. And I mean, at first I was kind of feeling a little strange about it, but we must have spent 45 minutes or so in the doctor's office. And she wanted to know my whole history. She wanted to know, so she went all the way back to, what do you eat? How long have you been vegan? I said, well, I've been vegan for 6 years now, which she thought was really strange. I don't think there's many vegans around here. So she was really curious about what I ate and things like that. She went all the way back to, whatever it was, 20 years ago, because she was asking Lydia about the way I talk. And so Lydia said, yeah, he had Bell's palsy maybe 20 years ago. So she kind of asked me a lot of questions about that. Everything from family history, what I knew about my family. We just spent a lot of time together. And man, by the time I left, I really felt like she knew way more about me than my doctors in the U.S. She prescribed a couple things for a couple little small things, but basically everything was fine. Hemoglobin was not high. Everything else looked good. But it was really impressive. Now when you walk in, it's not a real fancy place like you would see in the U.S. It's definitely more modest, but everything else was really, really fantastic. So I was pleasantly surprised. If you have any desire to come to Nicaragua and you think you might be here for a while, that's kind of what I would expect as far as a vet visit. They will easily come to your house. I've heard doctors will come to your house. If you're really sick, you can just call them and ask them for a house call. And usually that'll be $25 or $30 for them to come see you. Back in the old days in the U.S. when they'd make house calls, it still works here. If you don't feel good and you don't want to get up and take a shower and walk or drive somewhere or call a taxi or something, you can just ask the doctor to come see you, and they will. And that's with a regular doctor or a specialist. So really, really great. By the way, all that at the doctor cost about $13. And that was with one little prescription that she gave me also. So $13 there, $6 for a vet visit. It's just unbelievable. The people are so, so nice. And we are very, very happy here. Now, Lydia and I have already started talking. Where are we going next? How long are we going to be here? Do we see this? Because we're planning on going to, 12, 13 countries, maybe more. I don't know. But so we're kind of already talking, where are we going next? What's kind of the game plan? And we have kind of a couple different ideas about that. I would say I don't think that this will be our forever home, just because now we are in the hottest 2 months of the year. Hottest 2 months are March and April. Right now, from noon till 5 every day, it's pretty hot. And so, once we get through the first week of May, things will cool down. Maybe we'll change our minds at that point, because there's only a couple months where it's real hot. Then it does cool down a little bit. But if it was like this every day, it would be too hot for us. We'd be looking for a cooler climate. Now, I got to tell you, in the mornings, if it's 7 o'clock in the morning and you're out walking around, or if it's 6, 7 o'clock in the evening and you're out walking around, the weather is spectacular. And absolutely no need at all for air conditioning at night. Weather's plenty cool. I mean, it drops down. Typically, even now in the hottest time of the year, it drops down to 65. So, we sleep with, a light blanket and a couple of fans going, and it's really, really nice and comfortable. And we like it cold. So, but kind of thinking, now we'll be here for a year or two, so please follow along with us. If you like seeing different things about Nicaragua, we will be here for a year or two until at least a couple of our senior dogs pass away. But then we're thinking we're either going to do Antigua and Lake Atitlan in Guatemala and then maybe go up into Mexico, or we may bite the bullet and go ahead and buy a couple of long plane tickets and go ahead and fly down to Buenos Aires. But we're not really sure, but those are kind of the two options. If we go to Buenos Aires, then we'll start traveling north very slowly, and come on back through Uruguay and Peru and Ecuador and Colombia. So those are a couple options for us. Hey, if you've got a thought of which way we should go, please comment down below. Please like and subscribe. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. That really does help us out and keep this channel going. So we want to keep updating you, family, friends, ex-co-workers. We want to make sure that we hear from all of you. So please comment down below. I really do love hearing from you. We're going to be doing some more videos coming up pretty soon, showing you a little bit more around the city of Matagalpa. But until then, if you feel like you're trapped at work, you think maybe you want to escape a little early, you're not quite sure if you have the money to do it, follow along with us. If you're bored and you're not quite sure if you have enough money to retire yet, just know there has to be something more. See you all over the next day or two.